Hello, in this third video I'm going to talk about the Song Solomon Season 2, the Barley Bride's transformation. So in Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 17, it talked about the word shadows, which possibly refers to the 6 days of darkness. It says, until the daybreak and the shadows flee away. Turn, my beloved, and be thou like a roe or young hart upon the mountains of Bether. And so, since the barley bride will be transformed around the time of the 3 days of worldwide darkness, just as Jesus had his 3 days of burial, representing the darkness, and was transfigured before his 40 days ministry, and then the ascension that represent the rapture. So the bride will repeat the same pattern, and the wheat brides will follow the ascension pattern. There are many 3 days and 40 days patterns throughout the scriptures, from the time of Exodus, 3 days of darkness, to 40 years of wilderness, to Saul's 3 days of blindness, and Jonah's 3 days in the belly of the whales, his 3 days of darkness and reconciliation with God. So when we look into verse 11 and 13, it says, below, the winter is past, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the time to sing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land. The fig tree putteth forth her green figs, and the vines of the tender grape give a good smell. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. When looking at the clock here, I'd like to introduce you the 4 season quadrants. So around this part, this is the winter quadrant, and this one is the spring quadrant, and this one is the summer quadrant, this one is the fall quadrant. And this is indeed showing the season in Israel, but there is another way of seeing the seasons, by going backward and forward by the Jewish calendar. The reason that it works like this, for example, pointing to 3 o'clock is Sivan, and pointing to 6 o'clock is Elul, but it's overlapping with the Gregorian calendar, while Elul is also September, and while Sivan is June. So because both of them got the 6th month, they're equalized, and therefore now we can see that actually there are 2 ways of looking into the seasons. Just before that one, it was the first method. The second one would be actually going things backward or forward. Well, for example, this one is summer quadrant. It would be back to the time of spring, because the pointing to 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock is Sivan to Elul, right? And from March to June is equal to Sivan to Elul, because they're the same 3rd to the 6th months. and from the 3rd to the 6th month would of March to June would be the spring timing. And so right now we're back to spring during summer. So right now, the second method, we could see that this quadrant, it's not only summer but is also spring. This one would turns out to be fall and summer together. This one would not only be winter but would fall as well. And the last one here would be winter and spring together. So right now it creates a really interesting misalignment pattern. Let's go back to the South 7-2. One of the confusing part is that whether we should be using the actual season in Israel, or whether we'll be using the Jewish method, the clockwork method of going things backward. So since this is not even going into the first basis, so it's gonna be not like specific, but still I'm gonna further explain about this. So there's no rainfall in Israel from June to September. So in verse 12 to 13 it talked about the season spring, and the green figs appear during the time of April. So when we see April is actually equal to Tammuz. Tammuz is Jewish 4th month, and because April is also the 4th month, they're equal together. So when we're in Tammuz, we're back to April. And that's the math that we should be putting in mind, and to always see that Israel is the gauge. And so well, for this one, this is the 4 different versions of the Jewish calendar, because just before I showed in previous video about the Jewish calendar that we normally see online, and this just one of the version out of the 4 that I've laid out, which I believe should be used together to see a more complete picture of what is to come. And I mean, who knows if God uses or versions of the Jewish calendar, because there are 2 points to consider. For this year in 2016 is a leap year in Jewish calendar, and last year in 2015 the first new moon was delayed in the 14th of September, and because it was delayed, it was pushed to the 14th of October, and the Jewish calendar only starts when the moon comes. So that means there was a 1-month delay that occurred. So because of that, we can see 4 different versions of the Jewish calendar. The first one in the first 2 columns here, the first 2 columns of J1 is without delay, without Eta 2. The second one is without Eta 2 but with delay. The third one is without delay and with Eta 2. The fourth one is with delay and with Eta 2. So the one that we see online, that's with the leap year but without delay. So that would be the third one. But then we should also be seeing another version of the calendar with delay, which it's the fourth one. And the first one is also important because the leap year possibly is not a biblical method of the timing of God, and so that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be using the third and the fourth one, but the first one still applies, and that would be without the leap year to be more biblical, but then that's without the delay running its usual. But the second one is with the delay, the first Numeran delay, and so I believe that 4 of them could be used. All the Jewish calendars and the numbers here representing the Jewish months, and G here is the Gregorian months on the very left column. And so right now there are like 24 clock methods that we could be using, and there's the one, well, just before the four of the methods that I've explained. The fifth one is Jewish Rosh Hashanah as the beginning of months. So because there's a reason that there are 2 new years on the Jewish calendar, and so the time Tishrei is also the beginning of months, meaning that's going back to the first month. So we could count the first month on Tishrei, and that would be another calendar method that we could be using. And so as the Enoch and Elijah Rosh Hashanah's calendars, where it also begins the first month at a time Tishrei. And the 8th one, that's Jewish Nisan, is the beginning of months, applying for mirroring. So Tishrei, that's one of the new year. Another new year, the Jewish calendar is Nisan, and Nisan would be applied for mirroring, where it will be explained later. And so we'll see Enoch and Elijah using that same method, and also using Enoch's calendar because he was one translated believer. The other one, Elijah's calendar, he too was the same. 13, the Jewish calendar of the 3 crosses family chain of the mirroring of either backward, forward, 180 degrees backward or 100 degrees forward, which we'll be explaining later. And this is actually the clockwork method of basically doing an extra bit of work than the normal calendar that we see. And so the same for Enoch and Elijah. And as the Jewish calendar half cycle, Enoch and Elijah's 19, that's the original Jewish and Gregorian structure without misalignment. And 20th, equalized methods of the Gregorian months with the Jewish misaligned month. So it means that both Gregorian months could be seen equally when, because of the misalignment of the Jewish month, that overlaps in both Gregorian months, and therefore they're equalized. It could apply for Enoch, it could apply for Elijah's calendar, and 23rd overlapping of both Gregorian years with the Jewish year is equalized. 24th mirroring 2 years together by 3 crosses family of that, so that's the same. So just before it was with the months method, this for the years method. So I believe that there are hierarchy of different methods. So there's the primary and the secondary and so forth. Like the ones that should be used mainly and the others secondarily. And so this is a list of well, so far I believe would be the primary methods. So when I say it's primary, it means to rely on more of the primary methods than other that are not primary, and that is, I believe, for a more accurate result. But the secondary is the territory ones, and that's the 15 core primary clockwork methods, and for this one is about the original Jewish calendar without misalignment. And even though right now the Jewish calendar is misaligned, it's very important not to only see the misaligned calendar, but also see the original location of the months of the Jewish month with the Gregorian months together. And this was the original like structure when the time without the misalignment. And so, for example, at the time January would be Tevet, and February will be Shevat, March will be Adar, April will be Nisan, May will be Leir, June will be Sivan, July will be Tammuz, August will be Av, September will be Elul, October will be Tisri, November will be Cheshvan, and December will be Kislev. And there are 3 families, and the same color are the same family, and they're done by the backward forward and 180 degrees backward forward method. And the reasons stated below, which I'm not going to talk everything here, but the download link to the book would be in the description box. But anyway, it's very interesting because when we see back in the clock visually, we can see 3 crosses resembling the 3 crosses of the crucifixion. There were 2 thieves with Jesus, so there are like 3 who were crucified. And it's interesting to see that the clock, there are like 3 crosses together. So one of that would be 10 to 4, 1 to 7, and one will be 11 to 5, and 2 to 8, and last one 12 to 6, 9 to 3. And they're the 3 families which are equal together. And so that means, for example, that January is equal to April, in the same family with July and with October. And so it's history with Tamas, with Nisan, and Tevet. So that's very important because there's gonna be calculations to be done based on this structure later on. But so another one I would like to talk about would be the Jewish year. It's very interesting that because of the misalignment of the Jewish year in both Gregorian year, so that means that it could equalize both Gregorian years together. Well, for here, 2015, 2016 equalized to 5776 because 5776 overlaps in both years of 2015 to 2016. And the reason that I'm talking about 2015, 2016 is very important. It is a transformation code. And I'm going to explain that soon, but it's very important to know that because the Jewish year overlapping in both Gregorian year, and therefore 2015 is equal to 2016. And here, this the years backward forward method. So just as months are equalized through this method, years could also be equalized. For example, right now we're in 2016. Is forward would be 2019, backward would be 2013. So this will be matching up the world events of 2013, 2019, and also new festivals. They're there for reference for 2016. And because 2015 is equalized with 2016, and therefore 2018, 2012 are to be used for reference. And of course, this will not stop at 2010 or 2021. It just will go continuously. But this is just part of the section of what I wanted to highlight, especially with 2015 to 2016. Because on the clock, 2015 points to 3 o'clock, because 15-minute direction is at 3 o'clock. And the 6 o'clock direction is at 18 minutes direction, where it's representing 2018. And because 15 minutes is 3 o'clock, where it's equal to 6 o'clock, and therefore 2015 is equal to 2018, and just as 2015 is also equal to backward 2012. So this is just the demonstration of the clockwork method of the years, but it's gonna be more specific later. But right now I'm wanting to introduce about this because it's very important to keep it in mind. So when we think 2016, we'll think about other years as well, and it's not only about 2016. And so below here, it's another demonstration of a more detailed equalized method of the clock with the months of the Gregorian months and the Jewish months. And G is stands for Gregorian, J stands for Jewish, F stands for forward, B stands for backward. And so I've explained before if the Gregorian and the Jewish calendar got the same month, if they got the same 6 month, which is June and Elul, and they're equalized with the other months that they've got, and so it's kind of like the chart of a more complete picture than what I just explaining about 3 to 6, but it could also apply to 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 3, and other directions as well. And so they're like the 7 major secondary clockwork methods, so just blamed before Tishrei, time Tishrei would be the first month because of Rosh Hashanah. Now we can see that that there are other months for reference as well, and so we should not only be seeing the normal way with this September to Elul, but it could also be seen with the first month, the second month, and so forth. And this is all the demonstration, which I will not going to talk everything about it, but it's all laid out in the book. And the last one is kind of like a half cycle, where they're like 6 months and stop and start again with the first to the 6th. Because there are 2 Jewish New Year, and from New Year to New Year it's approximately 6 months, and that's why we could break it in half and see it as a half cycle, and see from the 1st to the 6th month in relation to the Jewish and the Gregorian months. But this, I believe, would be considered not as important as the primary methods. Anyway, I'll stop here, and